It was darker than the darkest night. To set the context, I'm from a small town in India, and this supposedly cursed or haunted mango tree is located in the outskirts of a neighboring village, on the road that connects town and the village. This incident took place just a few months ago. I was on the way from a doctor's appointment with my parents and my dog. It was late at night, around 1 to 2 a.m. I was asleep during the incident in the passenger seat. My dad was driving and my mom and dog were in the back seat. My mom was awake, so we're on the way back and all of a sudden I wake up to going down a slope. My mom is screaming, "What happened?" My dog is scared. I remember descending slowly under a babel tree, with this mango tree on the other side of the road. So on the field in front of the field where our car crashes into. Thankfully no one was injured and the car didn't have much damage, just a damaged bumper. The real experience starts here. So we got off the car, looked around. We're in a random field, and we have fallen in a good 8 to 10 feet off the road from a janky dirt slope. My mom asked my dad what happened. He replied there was a speeding car or something coming from the front, and it had intense lights. I swerved from the road to avoid a collision. Mom said, "Which vehicle?" I didn't see any car or whatever. I was wide awake. Probably you were falling asleep and it's late. Okay, just leave it. Call someone for help. So the road was just a few meters away. We climbed the slope to stop someone for help. 5 minutes later, a fleet of 3 tractors came. Dad stopped them and asked for help. They first tried driving the car up the rock slope, but it didn't work. Then they even tried pulling it with a tractor, but that didn't work either, and more force would have left it. Even more damage had been done. So we decided to call the police for help. We sent them off and Dad called emergency police helpline and told the operator. She asked the usual, was anyone hurt or whatever, and where the call to the nearest patrol car. So that was the patrol officer. So my dad is also a cop. He works in the jail department and is a senior to this guy. This guy picks up and asks, "Is anybody hurt?" Dad replied, "No, no one." He says, "It is required to come. This is what you are being paid off." Dad shouted at him, "Yes, absolutely. I have my wife and my kid. You have to come here now." He meekly replied, "Okay, I'm on my way. But you could ask for lift, can't you?" Dad is even more furious and yelled, "Yes. Would you treat a civilian? Would you treat a civilian the same way, let alone a person from the department?" The two, a senior. He instant came to his sense and said, "Yes, sir, I'm on my way." So after this debate, we left waiting for the cop car to arrive. As mentioned, it's a scheduled area, so they took time. Also, side note, my Labrador, who can be really vocal when he sees strangers, is completely quiet and almost scared the whole time. Now it's around 2:45 to 3 a.m. We're standing by the still road. It's pitch black, and I looked at the mango tree in question. I saw something sitting on one of its branches. It was darker than a pitch black night with 2 red dots where eyes should be. A chill went down my spine. I didn't show I was afraid. I just told my parents that we just go and sit in the car. It's too dark here. They agreed and we waited for the cops to arrive. The cop car arrived at the scene by 3:40 a.m. or 3:50 a.m. They made sure the car was safe. They said they will tow it in the morning and the patrol officer was shouted at by Dad. They said they will tow it in the morning and the patrol officer was shouted at by Dad some more of the offense. They dropped us home. Then my mom said I felt something bad there, something really filled with malice. Something dark. I also opened about what I saw. I saw something sitting on the mango tree branch. It was darker than the dark itself. I was cold, sweating in summer telling this. Somehow I slept that night, or rather that morning. Why I'm writing this now? Well, there has been a fatal accident at the same spot. A few days ago, a group of 11 people was returning back from a wedding of their friend in the village late at night. They weren't drunk. They crashed into a mango tree near the mango tree is in question. That tree fell on their car, killing 5 people on the spot. Another person died on the way to the hospital. 2 people are injured while 3 people are in the intensive care unit. One person who died is my dad's colleague's friend's nephew. After this incident, many people have told us about their experiences with that trees as it has been the topic of discussion around town. Psychotherapist's assistant, who is from the same village, told that his friend died when he was jogging past the tree and a branch fell on him. Around 12 years ago, 2 men died when they were going past that same tree and a branch fell on them. They were my uncle's acquaintances. These are the ones that I know. There must be more. Thank God. Thank God that we survived whatever it was. May all the people who died there rest in peace. May all the injured people get well soon.
There is something growing in the deepest freezer. What do I do? I'm going to assume for a second that you have used a soda machine before, because everyone has, at some point in their lives, gotten fast food. It's a 30-second process wherein you fill your paper cup with ice, then a drink of your choice. Then you snap on a plastic top, floating a straw into the center opening. It's something you'd never think twice about, unless you do it for a living, which I do. I mean, my job is really a cashier for a drive-through, but since we're so busy, we end up diving differently pieces of the cashier job to multiple people. As Tessa took orders, Esther worked the window and I made the drinks. When things got slow or we had an extra person, we would shift Esther to the back window and she would take orders and cash people out.
You might think this is a miserable job, and for the most part it is. 8 hours of standing, fingers prone and sticky from the constant exposure to soda. A job that really makes you feel like you are just one piece of the conveyor belt that ensures David in accounting gets his heart-stopping grease, shocked burger and a large cola. So I ended up smoking a lot of weed. It's a bad habit formed out of necessity, really. Everyone in a minimum wage job has to pick their vice, whether it be weed, nicotine, gossip, caffeine, or online shopping. You need something to get you through those hours, something that keeps you sane. Well, I read somewhere that weed uses actually increases your risk of psychosis. So really, it does the exact opposite of keeping you sane. Nonetheless, it made shifts manageable, despite the soda machine gunk. And every day at work, I would clean the soda machine, whipping out the overflow tray, cleaning the nozzles, and every day I see this brown gunk come off the machine. I know it can't be getting that dirty every day. I mean, this stuff is thick and it clumps onto every surface of the machine. And I have tried everything to get rid of it too. Soaking the nozzles in disinfectant, bleach solutions. I mean, it was everything to me. It had to be coming from somewhere else. I mean, I really have no clue what this stuff could even be. Sometimes when I'm really high, I will watch these time lapses of food rotting. I guess it just scratches that stoner itch. But this gunk from the machine reminds me of what's left after everything has rotted. That kind of a blackish brown mush that remains after the maggots have digested anything good. A stuff that even mold won't touch. It gives me the heavy javies when I clean the machine every day and every morning. What's too vile for even decomposers? On the brighter side, Itzer went MIA 2 weeks ago, which means upper management has decided to promote me to shift manager.
meaning I now have the honor of doing inventory checks on top of soda duty. It's fine. I'm in the basement gives me the creeps. I think somebody must have been eating their lunch down there, maybe Easter before she left. There's a bunch of old wrappers and empty shake cups that I need to clean up eventually. But what really has been getting to me is the deepest freezer. Most fast food places have two walk-in fridges, a refrigerator kind of beyond that a deep freezer. I had never been either. I don't work the line, so I have never had to restock any of the cold products. But now, daily, I have to walk through both freezer and take inventory, count up the number of bags of tomatoes, fries, burgers, cookie dough, etc. It would be fine, really damn cold, but fine, except I found another freezer beyond the deep one. There is no good reason why there might be an extra freezer. I mean, what would they even need it for? I spoke with management when I saw it and they were craggy about the whole thing, something about the building's previous owners keeping something back there. That would be fine if that were it, but there is stuff coming out from underneath the door, and it's the same stuff coming out from the soda machine. And the management said it was just dirt trashed in, but I know that gang personally. I'm sure that it's exact same stuff. I know I shouldn't have gone in. I should have just told management and left it at that. But I needed to know what was in there. I had been waging a single-man war against the staff for over 6 months now, and I needed some sort of answer. I had imagined rotting produce, maybe even a dead animal ever. I figured I would just pop open the door and look around. Maybe clean up the mess and finally be rid of the nuisance. It took a lot of effort to open the door to the deepest freezer. I don't think it had been opened in decades. It looked old, definitely from before our building renovations. The door was rimmed with rust and reminded me more of a bank vault than a freezer door. Finally, I worked it open. A burst of frozen air spilled forth, blocking my view and leaving me shivering as I entered the deepest freezer. I removed my arm from over my face, previously blocking my sight and protecting my eyes from the bitterly icy air, finally revealing the frozen, slimy surface of every wall, as stalactites and stalagmites fell and arose made from cards of brown gold. I wanted to be sick just at the sight of the room. Bile rising from the pit of my stomach. It only grew worse as the room warmed from the open door. The smell overtook me, horrid faint putrescence. It was like spoiled vinegar, like a stagnant pond, like burnt rubber. The smell was so foul I almost missed her, and the far wall almost embedded into its icy surface. And then I saw a girl. She was young, maybe 6. Pigtails tied in 2 dull red ribbons, clothed in a tartan dress, stiff with icy crystals. From the girl's nose ran 2 streams of the brown nose tailing back into the wall like a nose canoa from a hospital patient. From her eyes trailed tears of mucus, warmed into a soft paste from the heat of her cheeks, her ears draining chunks of the stuff. Her eyes slowly pulled open, cracking away flakes of frost-beaten skin, revealing molded over irises, softly gray and fuzzy. She pulled herself away from the wall, peeling herself off, leaving strands of now partially melted tube knitted between the 2 surfaces. I wanted to run, but in my initial distraction I had let the freezer door close behind me. My back pressed up against the door. I could feel the slim-covered wall force against my body heat, leaving strands now glued to my clothes. I dared not take my eyes off the girl as she moved closer, bringing her hands up, reaching for my face, stopping only to wipe her continuously running nose onto her sleeve. The door wouldn't budge behind me, now thoroughly glued shut by the warm slim, oozing between the hinges. I could only close my eyes as the girl's hand touched my face. swarming lark worm slime, covering me in a filmy residue. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of the gunk being worked over my face, the door fell away behind me, leaving me sprawled on my back. Almost instantly, I reached up and closed the deepest freezer behind me, my eyes still blind from the slime. I ran to the bathroom, my hands covering my face to conceal my ill-gotten gains. I wept and scrubbed my face with what must have been hundreds of handfuls of soap and paper towels, and I'm still too afraid to open my eyes. I was terrified I might open them and see that fuzzy corners staring back at me. And finally, I slowly opened them, gazing at my face in the reflection. I was fine. I mean, my face was dotted with broken blood vessels from the scrubbing. My eyes were a similar red from the crying, but I seemed fine. I gagged, relief, and vomit both pouring forth from me. Finally, I was relaxing. I curled up into a ball on the cold tiles of the bathroom, a halo of soapy grim-coated paper towels surrounding me. Well, after an hour, management asked me if I wanted to go home. I told them I wasn't feeling well and that I probably should. They told me corporate would be coming that night to do an inspection, that the freezer dirt would be cleaned by tomorrow morning and I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. God, that was a relief. I made my way home and ended up falling asleep with the shower still on. I was desperate to feel clean. Within the shower, I dreamed that I was burnt alive, caught in a raging inferno, a cyclone of fire, suffocating me, dissolving me in a purifying flame. It was probably just my brain's response to dreaming while still under the boiling hot sprue of the shower head. But somewhere inside me I couldn't shake the feeling that I knew what I would see before. And I have even opened the deepest freezer today. Whatever was in that freezer is gone now, or at least gone for a while. I don't feel well. It must be the weed or falling asleep in the shower or the residual trauma of yesterday. But I couldn't bring myself to clean the soda machine. When I saw that gunk again, it was like something inside of me resonated with it. Like I was a tuning fork, humming at the same frequency as whatever that stuff is. I just kept thinking back off to that girl, producing that gunk like a spider produces webbing. Corporate must have removed her scorched bones from the deepest freezer. Either that or she didn't have any after what the good things turned her into. And isn't there some reason why you don't sleep in running water? Is it was pneumonia or something? It must have given me at least a head cold. My nose won't stop running and my ears hurt like hell. I asked management for tomorrow off. They said I could, but I just needed to clean out the deepest freezer after I finished my shift. They said there was some sort of cross-contamination concern they needed my help with. And that's all I have.